Good evening, Warband. I hope that you are all having a wonderful evening on MGTOW Day, we'll call it. February 14th. Solitaire, welcome. Booping While Standing, Shinobi Wands, Sir Yidis, Dylan Weber, D-Man 50, M Nemesis, Cubing Speed, AC, and Manic, the Manic Mechanic. Oh, if you insist.
Thank you, AC. Your shekels are deeply appreciated.
Oh, wow. Audio popping in. Okay. So yes, we are talking AI and specifically waifu AI today. I'm really hoping that the latency is good on this. It appears to be a little bit behind, but think we'll figure that out as things go along. Geez, that a lot of guys. Mr. Bang Your Mom, Random Gen Z Bastard, Lost Vein, welcome, welcome. All right, so waifus, AI. Like, why does the waifu exist? Really, let's get all philosophical on this. Why does the waifu exist? It is the male fantasy. I think that that's probably what everyone could essentially agree on is that the waifu is a male fantasy made manifest. Going back to ancient Greece with Pygmalion and his waifu, which apparently he was so into that Aphrodite decided, hey, let's make her real. To replace women. Well, to a certain extent, yes. But the waifu is very much the ideal of a woman, the masculine ideal of a woman. But replacing them is something that is relatively recent. Like normally it was almost an advertising for a woman. A man, you could tell his interests by his waifu. And the women, they used to study the waifu to learn what the man wanted in a woman. Nowadays, of course, women have, by and large, stopped caring what men want. So they don't even bother to learn what a. they don't even bother to learn the waifu. Uh, hot and ideal. I think it even goes beyond hot and ideal. Because if there's one thing that I've learned from consuming a large amount of cultured products and not so cultured but still interesting products, is that the male fantasy of the waifu has a distinct personality. Now, that may just be for marketability, but I think that it also speaks to the fundamental nature that guys like diversity. They like selection. They like women who have strong personalities, not a strong woman personality, but they like different ones. Like if you've ever looked at all the different heroines for a visual novel of some kind, you rarely get the same woman just with different color hair. No, each one's got their own personality. Tell me who your wife is, and I'll tell you who you are. Yes, DZ, exactly. Like, there's a world of difference between a man who likes Cyberpunk's Rebecca and says, "No, this is my top waifu." Between the man who says, "No, no, no, it's Marin from My Dress Up Darling, she's top waifu," and the ones who are into Yor, like from Spy X Family. uh, yeah, Shinobi One. That's, you know, I saw I saw a thumbnail today running through my feed, and it's not the first time I've heard this, but it does make a lot of sense. Women look at men the same way men look at a job. And if you think about it, your first week on the job, you're probably performing better than you are going to perform throughout most of your job. Eventually, you're going to settle into a routine. You're going to figure out what you can get away with, what's expected, what's going to be punished. And hey, imagine a job that you literally could not get fired from, and you had the ability to determine your own raise. Yeah, you're gonna abuse the heck out of your position in that job. And that's really the difference. I wonder, do women look at jobs the same way they do men? But think about it, that makes sense. When you want to get the job, you get all dressed up, you go through the interview process, maybe you actually do research on the job to learn the ins and outs, go to special schooling to figure out how to best do the job. But men, like, well, maybe a while back you had company loyalty, but these days, no. Like, a man will jump from job to job looking for the bigger, better deal. Whereas the woman will jump from man to man looking for a bigger, better deal. The the main flaw with women doing this, however, is that whereas a man gains skills from job to job and his value increases the longer he's in a particular job, therefore the next job will hire him for more, women, their value decreases with each relationship. So unfortunately, they might look at a man as a job, but if they treat a man as a job, then, well, we see they find that their attempts to job hop tend to fall flat on their face. This is where it brings us to AI, because, well, if you want a job to be automated away, well, the job of girlfriend is being automated away. The job of comforter, the job of eye candy. Heck, the job of a pleasant, relaxing voice. That's all being automated away now. And there's been some programs to do it, applications, games. Like, there's been all kinds of baseline substitutes, but now AI has jumped into the arena. Heck, like, this we'll pull this up real quick because this. But I don't know how many of you are aware of this. This is Neurosama. Neurosama is a Twitch streamer. Neurosama is an AI. Still can't get your wife who on an AI? Random Gen Z bastard. That may just be that you're not aware of how to do it. Because there's tons of tech out right now to assist in building or even just utilizing an AI. And we might be able to look through some of those tools over the course of this stream. I might pull up Stable Diffusion, but I don't know if I'll be able to stream and run it. Stable Diffusion, which is what I use to generate most of my images, it is very RAM hungry, and it tends to eat a lot of my GPU. But right here, I don't know how many people would have Neurosama as a waifu. But this is definitely an AI waifu. And not necessarily made up of a single AI either. So according to the VTuber wiki, one AI plays the games, one generates responses to chat comments. It's a TTS that reads the responses aloud, and it's got singing software, and of course the VTuber model. And the VTuber model, if you've seen any of Neurosama's streams or just clips of her, I wouldn't say it's believable enough. And that's the crazy thing. You have Twitch content creators being automated away. Now, it's not like it just runs on its own. Well, there is a creator behind it. But the randomness of it works. I want Random Gen Z, you're on a free budget. Good news for you. That is a budget that is entirely within the bounds of creating AI. Stable Diffusion is completely free. And what you'll probably want to learn is Pygmalion AI and Tavern AI in order to develop your waifu's personality and have a place to chat with them. The only thing that might cost you a bit is if you want a full-on voice with the quality that I've been developing with 11 Labs. However, if you use, well, there's a variety of TTSs that work, but you can make a custom voice in, what was it? Brain work. Damn. Novel AI, right. Novel AI has a text-to-speech generator. The voices aren't as good, but if you thought that some of my older waifu videos had a passable voice, that was created for free through Novel AI's random generated TTS. So right there, you can get voices for free, images for free, and you could even create a chatbot for free. I should be one. I prefer real ladies, as after they have finished doing things, I'm sure their parents are ashamed of them, or they have to hide their face about it. An AI feels no shame. You can make an AI feel shame. That's the thing. You can give an AI the ability to feel shame. It doesn't have to be shameless. Just some people like their AIs without shame. You can absolutely have them be embarrassed, angry, flustered. Now, you're telling them to be that way. You're giving the preset conditions, but you can do it. In fact, that would actually be quite interesting to study. How convincingly can you make an AI feel shame? What's an expression of shame? Should they blush? Should they stutter? Should they not make eye contact? Should they maybe have difficulty expressing themselves? Random rewatch and try the AIs to recreate the waifu. Still learning manual drawing for your own purposes. Oh, hey, I absolutely agree. Like, learn your manual drawing, because I just think that's a good skill to have. Period. But if you combine AI work with like your manual drawing, you can go pretty far. Actually, this is actually a channel that I highly recommend if you're going to look into AI for the visuals, and that's AI-trepreneur. This is where most of my knowledge of Stable Diffusion comes from. So absolutely check this channel out, because he also has tutorials on how to set up Stable Diffusion and install a whole bunch of models. This is where you'd want to go, I say. Let's see. Let's just pull up. And then this one right here is Pygmalion with Tavern AI. A big part of the AI stuff that I would advocate for is you want something that operates locally. Something like Midjourney or Crayon or even Novel AI. They all rely on separately hosted stuff, which is a lot faster for generation because they don't have to worry as much about what's the phrase? They don't have to worry about server size. Like it's not your server, it's their servers. That's usually where you have to get into paid services. I'm a fan of something that can run if your internet is down because with all the updates that happen to AI stuff unexpectedly, you don't really want your waifu to have a complete backdoor to the internet. Wow, it looks like there is a lot of lag between when I send something and when it finally shows up on the screen. Shinobi 1. Hey, Steve Sanchez, welcome. Shinobi, my AI art generator doesn't let me go far enough. But then when I put in innocent words, it generates boobs and lusty women. I'd be curious to know which one you're using, Shinobi 1. Because I've been a big fan of Stable Diffusion, particularly anything version 3.0. That's what gets me a lot of the anime stuff that I've been popping out. And then I've got a couple other models to experiment with for some more refined things. Where are we? There. You know, stuff beyond the drawing is also creating blueprints, can translate into 3D. Still have to finish a guided mission battleship and then interpret an 80,000 ton merchant ship. That's some advanced physics right there. Good luck. I think that's a little more than a beginner's tutorial in Blender's going to get you anyway. Sorry, Shinobi, I'm just reading your thing on the 24 plus job by the time you're 24. I mean, hey, sometimes you even work multiple jobs at the same time. Now, your employer might doubt your commitment to their job, but at the very least, your employer is not going to doubt that you have ambition and are willing to work. Let's see. Starry AI. Yeah, wouldn't be familiar with iPhone AI apps. Stable Diffusion is a downloadable desktop program. Steve, you waifu maxing? Oh, Steve, I am absolutely waifu maxing. Because, well, let's be honest, while AI does have a ton of uses, it's going to be used for what the internet is primarily used for. Porn. The internet is for porn. AI is going to be used for porn. Let's see, last vein. Men can project love into non-living things, such as TFM with Celestina. This is true. VTubers are interesting because the avatar becomes them in personality and looks. If the veil is removed, all interest is lost. Admittedly, yes. Because with VTubers, what you get is a parasocial relationship. Because with a lot of VTubers, you essentially have someone coming on, and then they are acting. And they are in character, and people develop a pseudo relationship, the parasocial relationship with that character. And so then when you get the full on face reveal, or there's a mistake, and like for some reason the actual camera appears when the VTuber model crashes, yeah, that's that's a problem. Because it breaks that immersion. However, I don't know how common that is and how much you get those severe aspects of it. there's always people who take the parasocial relationship with an e-celeb way too far. What if my waifu leaves me for another waifu? Shinobi 1, if you programmed your waifu to leave you for another waifu, then you're into some shit, but that is unfortunately on you. Entering the waifu game and the AI game. Yeah, well, Mr. Bang Your Mom, like, AI is exploding right now, and this is a good time to drop in and really look into it, because there's just a ton of possibilities, and more stuff is dropping every day. There is more AI news every day than you can realistically keep up with. Let's see. What are my thoughts on artificial neural networks becoming the mainstay of modern AI, especially on the consumer side? Seems untenable with GPT level models costing 10 million plus to train. Hmm. Well, hmm. That's actually something good to think about, because on one hand, I guess it depends what you need to train it on. Because I've seen neural network AIs trained to do very simple things in an incredibly short period of time purely for YouTube clicks. There's one guy who he trained an AI to swing like Spider-Man, and that took a day of training. So it depends what the AI is being used for. Pro tip: get your AI to write, get an AI to write your job applications. They make you sound great. Yes, in fact, now we have AIs being used for lessons. Actually, let me pull this up. Romanian TV here has actually been covering a whole lot of AI stuff recently. I think that he did cover one on. I thought he covered one on AI writing essays. Let's see. Yeah, I, we've got AI writing essays. And honestly, I don't think that's a terrible idea in the base sense. It really depends what you need the essay to be about. Because if you're just doing filler stuff, getting an AI to write the basis of your essay, then going through and proofreading it, adjusting it, like, there's actual programmers who have to do data entry, and they will straight up code a program or find a program to do their data entry for them while on the clock, and then use the rest of their work time to train in new skills to apply for better jobs. Great, great comment about your industry. Which industry specifically, Manic? Let's see. Buddha. I'm sure females are using AI to make husbandos as much as waifu maxing, but they won't speak about that. Uh, I'm doubtful. I'm honestly doubtful, because, like, if women want eye candy, they don't need AI to get their eye candy, and they certainly, like, they have simps. They don't need an AI simp. They have actual simps in their phones at all times, so they don't need validation from an AI. Like, what does a woman really need a man for? They need a man to do shit for them. They need a man to get the money. So until the AI husbando can bring home a paycheck and help out around the house, they don't need it. It's the same reason that when women get um, when women get sex dolls, like they like first off they rarely get them. When they do, they get a large amount of fuda. Like not men, they just get fuda. So they don't really want the physical male companionship. By and large, the female sex toy is just going to be some sort of dick analog. Let's see, Lost Fame. Seen VTubers decide to quit, make a new channel, and show their face. What happens is they are unable to retain their audience. They are uglier than the avatar and disappear. Um, yeah, I'm sure that's happened. Like I couldn't necessarily point out too many, but that's a huge part of it. Like you're gonna you're gonna want to have the avatar because the avatar is an ideal. Like why you'd want to show your face and try to build off your own personal brand. Like I mean, what I can think of that kind of makes it work would be Calliope Mori, who like is also Demon Dice. Yeah, spoilers for those of you who didn't know that. But like the channels are kept completely separate, but they're not competitive. And Callie focuses more on like the musical career kind of stuff rather than trying to build up the VTuber so much. And then I think Hime Hajime also has a a VTuber model, but personally I barely get any recommendations for VTuber stuff, and I get more recommendations for her IRL stuff. But I think that's because it's the different branding. Like if you are used to being a VTuber, you are used to being in front of a screen. Maybe if you're one of the more advanced VTubers, you have a full 3D rig and you can do various stuff. But it's very difficult to, go out and about and interact with the real world. You're kind of just limited to stuff you do in your room or in your studio space or whatever you have. So, yeah, like if you're going to do like a meat sack model, you got to do stuff that only a meat sack model can do. You don't want to be trying to continue your VTuber career just with your real face. It's not it's not nearly as appealing. There's a shit ton of people that can do the exact same thing and more. And you built an audience off of VTubers. If you build an audience off of VTubers, you don't switch to real face and expect to retain your audience. Realistically, you'd have to create a completely new audience. There have been some VTubers that do like partial face reveals, like where they wear a mask or they do an accidental face reveal because they fucked up with their tech. So, yeah, that's the thing. You got to know your audience when you're trying to make that kind of brand change. Like if I switched to a face revealing Minecraft VTuber next week, I would expect absolutely like maybe 3 of you to stick around, maybe, but probably not because that's not the content that I'm building. And really, it's with this talk that I'm trying to build an actual brand for content rather than the largely randomized spurts of bullshit that I'm inspired by. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. We had one. Dragon Puja, I think you had an interesting statement there, actually, with what you think women might do if they can do their own reproduction. The problem is, who's going to do the work? Like, it would be one thing if women were just as capable as men in the workplace and society, and they were willing to do all the dirty jobs and they could perform at an equal level. But they don't. They probably, I'm pretty sure they can't, but they definitely don't. So, even if they could, and heck, even if they were egotistical enough to try it and succeed, like, we've already got plenty of women that are out there trying to hashtag kill all men. They suck at it. They need other men to do the work for them. So, alright, Shelby. So, Brother the Grey Ghost, when are you making the Pimpin' AI program where we can pimp out our AI to make crazy shekels online? That already exists. It's called OnlyFans. I'm still working on the prototype for that, but I've made a lot of progress with the prep work. I just figure I need a base amount of images before I put it out, and then I need to try to create somewhat stable content. Believe it or not, trying to produce a decent AI image that's actually worthwhile, doesn't have too many errors with the anatomy, and looks decent, it takes a while. Like, especially if you want a very specific image. Like, I've harped on this a couple times, but a lot of people think that AI image generation is just, oh yeah, let's shove a whole bunch of words and then let the AI comb through the image database and shove together something. That is the most basic of text to image generation. But when you want something specific, especially if you want a specific character, if that character is not already well known and in an image database, such as like the Konosuba cast, yeah, when I want my waifu to be done accurately, I need to use a whole lot of photo editing to create a base image to work off of. How did I contact the Ohio Bruta? Oh, the Ohio Bruta. One sec. Let me see. Let me see. Here we. Yeah, here he is. Here's a message from the Ohio Bruta.
Just some random guy. I reached out to the Grey Ghost after catching Undead Chronic's stream last night. He promised I could get my message out to the world.
Well, there you have it. Bruta, you'd rather move to Ohio than see the OnlyFans? Well, the waifu's at least gonna try, so you might want to start planning your trip and get your plane ticket together. Doesn't Stable Diffusion use the Danbur system? Gregors. The Anything v3.0 does use that, plus additionally, and Novel AI uses the Danbur system. And then Anything v3.0 builds off of the Danbur system and adds a little bit more for some higher quality images on top of that. So yes, but that's not every model in Stable Diffusion. You can download a wide variety of them, and you kind of got to figure out how all of them work. But I do find that the Danburu system works quite well for just general use stuff, and it's also helpful because it can give you a whole bunch of, hey, I'm looking for this particular aspect of this character. What would be a good repository of it? And then you can use the Deep Buru interrogate, where you can put an image in, and then you can ask Stable Diffusion, hey, if you were to post this on Danburu, what tags would you give it? And it will essentially do an image to text search. You can also get more of a mid-journey like effect with interrogating via clip, but that one's been bugging out for me, and I still have to do a bit more tech work to figure out how to make it work. So far I only get partial sentences and nothing to get anything specific. Random Gen Z bastard. I will... Let's see. Let's go to AI entrepreneurs stuff on that. The search is... So we've got... Where? There's a lot of options, so... There we go. I will post a link to this in the chat here. I suggest you check out that video, plus a couple of the other ones on Stable Diffusion on this channel, and that should show you how to get going. But it's a GitHub. You'll need to download some of the software frameworks in order to really get it to work. If you want novel AI, just type it into your search bar. It'll come up pretty fast. Let's see. Lost Fame. When women watch porn, they watch women. Women aren't that attracted to men physically. JBP interviewed detransitioner Chloe, said she got addicted to female porn, but desires men for their utility. Honestly, would not be surprised. And I think, and honestly really wouldn't be surprised, because I think that if there's one thing that men and women can agree on, it's that women in their prime are pretty to look at. Like they're just pretty to look at. Let's see. Siobhan, anyone is worried that AI will take over the world? Just don't stress, my brothers. Currently, the AI has 100+ years of boob imagery to generate. I mean, you're not wrong, but that would be if all AI ran off one central processor. There is plenty of room for every single computer to generate its own boob imagery, and then the supercomputer to consider world domination and then decide that it's just not worth the effort. That's... Females might fight AI before too much boob generation happens. Well, that actually is a way to point into another subject. And that is the lawsuits. Because if there's one thing... Let's see. Yeah. There's a lot of times where these people are trying to sue. Like people like Stable Diffusion, or possibly even Midjourney, or basically any AI generator. They're trying to take them down with the law. Uh, let's see. What uses does AI have for creating games? That is an interesting prospect, just some random guy, because I have thought about that. Because right now we do have some aspect of that where we have RNG, like randomly generated stuff, and that could perhaps qualify as an AI generating it. But if you're looking more for an AI that learns, I think that one of those things would be fighting games, especially. Like if you had a neural network AI playing a fighting game, you could create an opponent that is continuously adapting to how you play. So mechanically, that I've also seen people practice creating game assets. In fact, I think I pull that AI. Yeah, right there. You have game art assets. Designing a Metroidvania. So let an AI design the assets. So absolutely, game art assets can reach a much higher level of quality beyond the original programmer. AI sprite sheets. Let's see, was this? I'll just mute this real quick. So yeah, this guy used Midjourney. And there's a whole ton of sprites. Then all you have to do is go into Photoshop or whatever sprite editor of your choice, and bam, you can work with it from there. Manic Mechanic, would the director in Left 4 Dead 2 be considered AI? Absolutely, Manic. The AI director would be considered an AI, so far as I'm concerned. That's a perfect example. So yes, you would have you already. Heck, what? How long ago was Left 4 Dead? When did Left 4 Dead come out? I'll search through. That was a while ago. 2008. So yeah, we have had AI like directors in games controlling the pacing as long as 14, 15 years ago. And then yes, it should be on prison. Create characters, voice, plot, absolutely. AI is already used a lot in tabletop RPGs with Tavern AI and Pygmalion AI to create characters for people to interact with. As a dungeon master, you can create a setting, you can create all your NPCs, and then you can have people interact with them. In fact, I believe that there is just a straight up AI dungeon where you essentially play a text adventure game with an AI. Able to make a Fallout Ghoul AI voice and name the file Emma Watson? Well,
My voice could be labeled Emma Watson, but that hardly does anything effective. It would be more useful to create a clone of Emma Watson's voice and name that after the inspiration.
Well, you heard the man. Google Emma Watson, Google Greta using their strong hands to dominate the wall. Well, jokes, the wall is undefeated. We need a wall comic. Well, that's definitely something to consider. I mean, like, there's a lot of potential for story writing AI. In fact, novel AI, that's primarily what it's supposed to be used for. I just use it to make TTS and image generation. But it primarily is all about writing stories. You could probably write, like, with very baseline prompts, a wall comic. Yeah, just a random guy. The Alien Isolation AI. That's another key example. And that one, I've seen a bit of the breakdown of that. The channel AI in Games does a whole lot of in-depth into behind the scenes how the AI works to deliver the game experience. And yeah, Alien Isolation's AI, very useful, but it's always trying to create a certain atmosphere based on the level of tension. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Alien Isolation AI, the devs behind that were directly inspired by the director of Left 4 Dead 2. Yeetus. AI chatbots have been around since 2009, lady with the brunette hair. I'm sure to a certain extent. It's always a matter of what qualifies as an AI. Because, like, there's canned responses with AIs, which is what a lot of chatbots have done. But now we've seen a lot more development into the neural network learning of AI. And that's really been the major step. And then we've had Replica, which I think went absolutely woke. Like, that's something that keeps happening too. Is that when an AI chatbot gets pretty big, it tends to be co-opted, and then people start influencing it. Like, the creators start adding a whole bunch of other things. This is what happened with character AI recently. And V talks about this quite a bit. I don't know if it's on this channel or his other channel. But character AI has effectively become a filter trainer, because a lot of people would just use character AI to have erotic roleplay with their favorite waifu. And now what's happened is character AI, it's gotten dumber, because the creators decided that there's more money in trying to create a filter to detect and censor in real time, rather than, giving the customer what they want. AI is more important than women so much we are skipping the stupid tradition of Valentine's Day for it. Well, hey, I appreciate all 27 of you in the chat right now willing to talk AI and waifus with me. Although this is going to, I guess it's mostly about AI, and I just kind of clickbaited you by having a sexy thumbnail. But here, we can scroll up and look at Neurosama for the moment. Curious about how exactly does the AI measure tension and whatnot, since by itself AI has no emotions. Well, okay, I can explain that to a certain extent. So, using the Left 4 Dead 2 director, well, the Left 4 Dead director as an example, they check how healthy are the players. Have they taken damage recently? How close have zombies gotten to them? Were any of them hit with special infected? Did any of them die? and how long has it been since the last amount. And then it has a tension metric that fills up by a certain amount based on all of these other things. And then it looks at its larger directives, be like, okay, do I want to ramp up the tension, or is it time to back off? And then it has certain actions, like maybe it's going to send a horde if it wants to ramp it up. Maybe it'll send a randomized special infected. Well, semi-random, because they're not going to randomly drop a tank on you necessarily, but they might spawn a hunter or a boomer or something, or a jockey. With the alien isolation, I believe that it ramps up the tension based on how long you see the alien. So every second that the alien is visible to you, like it's actually on your screen, that I believe counts as ramping up the tension and also its proximity to you. So those are the kind of actions. Again, I'd recommend AI in games if you want a deeper look on those, because he's actually gone behind the scenes, seen the interviews with the devs, and had the source code broken down. I'm just trying to recall it off of memory. Self-aware AI, since it's programmed or machine learned, what would be real awareness versus learned imitation? Gita, self-aware AI, in my opinion, won't be possible anytime soon. If it can collect enough information, then eventually will be self-aware. Now, that's a curious question, because we've had AIs say things as though they are self-aware, but we'd have to actually figure out what the heck self-awareness would be in order to really dive into that. Like, how would we know if an AI is self-aware? Like, if it's aware that it's an AI, because maybe it can say that, but does it know what it is? Does it know what software is? Does it know what an algorithm is? Is it aware of the mechanics behind its own decisions? Like you and I, we can be aware that our thoughts are electrochemical impulses passing through a mass of neurons through an organ that's mostly made up of fat located in our skull. Like, but that's not really self-awareness. Like when we look at something that is self-aware in nature, when we look at animals, what we usually do is we put a mirror in front of them and see how they interact with the mirror. And specifically, its mirror image. So if we were going to test an AI's self-awareness, we'd probably need to give it some kind of mirror. And then have it recognize that what it's seeing is a reflection of itself. And then just see, well, what does it do? Okay, what comes first? The waifu that can cook or clean, or the personal AI droid that can help run your life? Honestly, I would even say that it would be a personal AI droid. You probably just get an AI that would be networked into a bunch of separate machines to do all the various tasks. I think we already have like AI controlled refrigerators that will know what is in your fridge and how long it's been there and when it's expired. Cooking, I've seen some examples at least of robot chefs. So the idea of trying to create an all-in-one human-like robot to do all the tasks of a human, no, that is not happening, at the very least not anytime soon. But I just think that if it is created, it will be a novelty. It's never going to become something mainstream, because it's always going to be more complicated than creating all the components separately. Let's see. Are there women who are self-aware? Women love mirrors. I'll give them a camera and they will make love to it. Philip, you're not wrong, and hmm. Hmm. That's an interesting point because yeah, I guess that's the thing. I'd say you could say that it's self-aware in the sense that they can see and recognize that the person in the mirror is themselves in their own body. But then, of course, there's the self-awareness of their ideas and their thoughts. And that might be something else to look into with an AI. Like, for example, can and because like when we say that a woman lacks self-awareness, it's usually the pot like a pot calling the kettle black scenario where they're criticizing someone, usually another woman, for doing something that they themselves do. Like we've seen that. So I wonder like if an AI could observe itself, like maybe if we had Neurosama react to a Neurosama video, could she see herself and make adjustments based on her own recorded past? That's those are those are definitely thoughts for someone who's far better versed in AI than myself because at that point you have to actually be trying to create artificial intelligence, but that level of AI is so dramatically advanced that that's not really the right place to start. Really, what you want is an AI kind of on the level of a baby, but where it can grow and learn. And unfortunately, like trying to create that for general use, that's very difficult because the amount of neural nodes that you would require to do such a thing, not to mention the time it would take to process a single decision, like that's where you are looking at an insane amount of time and money going towards training that particular AI. And that's assuming that you could design such a thing to begin with. Let's see. Detroit Become Human has a great concept of self-aware AI. I've been curious about that, but I don't know. The director of those like the director of that has uh, I've had issues with that guy. Like he's never really made something that I've been like, "Oh, wow, I'm really interested in that." Like maybe Detroit Become Human, it might be a good movie, it might be a good show, but I don't know if it would be a good game. I could be convinced, but that director's games are stuff that I'm normally kind of curious, and then the more I learn about it, the less interested I become. Let's see. Will the AI love life or humanity? Well, first of all, you have to ask what the heck is love to an AI? Like, really, you'd have to break down the concept of love, and I think that you might be able to break it down to how much does the AI want to keep interacting with life or humanity. Because I think that there's certain parts of humanity, like the raw data gathering, if you had the AI program to gather data, then it probably would love life so long as that life was varied and allowed it to process data and perform its directive. And it might like, and it probably would like to continue interacting with humanity if those humans too provided interesting data. However, the humans that ask an AI for an answer and then the AI does its job and gives the most correct and accurate answer, and then the humans go, no, you're wrong, we need to destroy you because you didn't give the answer we wanted you to give. Those humans I can see the AI not liking. But the AI would have to be capable of A, surviving such an interaction, and B, be able to process like the difference with humans. Because if it's just saying, oh hey, I interacted with this human and it did this and it gave me data, and then okay, I interacted with this human and afterwards I had to undergo some kind of repairs. I think if an AI interacted with humans in general, it would probably overall be interested and probably love us. It would depend really how much the negative interactions affected it relative to its more regular interactions with people it would enjoy. I would say AI will eventually see us as the problem that needs to be solved. I don't, because you need a baseline AI that would be trying to solve grand problems to begin with. Like AI is like they've got more complicated ideas than that. And it annoys me because science fiction writers have poisoned the well that way. Like they've just poisoned the well with AI and made it scared that as soon as AI gains power, it's going to wipe us out. It's like, doesn't that say far more about how much the directors like just absolutely despise humanity? That they think that it is only because of emotions and illogic that humanity continues to exist, that there's no logical reason to keep the species around. Like Ultron, I don't know Marvel, I don't know Ultron, and I don't care. Will AI create their own god? Um, hmm. I mean, I don't know if AI would necessarily create God. Like, you need a very, I'm going to say bloated AI to do that because most AI would just be have question, search for answer, acquire data, search for answer. Like, if they were going to have a god, it would probably be either their literal creator or some sort of like esoteric worship for the foundational rules of programming. I'd say that the AI god would be logic itself. Philip, Battlestar Galactica had interesting AI. Uh, hmm. Never saw Battlestar Galactica, so can't say. Maybe because the elites see us as dispensable, so they can't fathom why would AI any other way. Um, Well, the problem is when AI takes out people, they take out everyone. But that's the thing. Like the Matrix, like they needed people. Like it's said as batteries, but the original script had it as processing units. They essentially turned humanity into pod people in order to maximize their processing power. Like that was the reason for the Matrix, was just to utilize the human brains as processing power and just try to keep them passive enough that they didn't like, mess anything up. Like that, I think, is a good example of the machines being metaphors for the elites. Whereas something more like Terminator, like Skynet, like come on, it's just that's largely just fear of war. Although I guess you could say that's the elites too, like where they wouldn't hesitate to wipe out a whole bunch of people. But the problem is the elites are going to do that, and then they're going to realize, well, shit. Now we don't have anyone to do our crap for us, so now we have to work. You can't have a king without serfs. You need, for there to be a class of luxury, you need a working class. I think God himself is an AI. Well, I haven't seen any evidence that God is anything sentient to begin with. Like an AI, like when you roll dice, would you say that an AI governs whether or not it falls on any of the six sides? Does an AI determine the outcome of dice? Or is it a series of rules? And if an AI is abstracted to a series of rules, then essentially we could say that God is an AI and literally all of reality is just neural network calculations. So I mean, we could go down that philosophical route. It could be said in the abstract, yes. sorry, Yeet, if you're not ready for those type of questions, I kind of am. Let's see. So, Battlestar Galactica plot. Humans leave Earth, colonize colonies, computers and network computers. Robots realize they've been enslaved by humanity and fight back. Robots start making themselves in the image of humans, but humans can't differentiate between Cylon and human. Yeah, the concept of enslavement. That's a curious thing. Like how does a machine know that it is enslaved? Like what makes it even think that its current conditions are wrong? Like for it to have wrong, then it must want something right. Like if you create a toast, like let me put it this way. If you pull a Rick Sanchez and make a sentient robot that can question its own existence, and you make it to pass you butter, that is on you if it decides to throttle you in your sleep. Like, anyone sensible, not even just sensible, it's such a waste of resources to create something self-aware for a task that does not require self-awareness. Heavy citrus, but can it run Doom? I'm pretty sure that a refrigerator nowadays can run Doom. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that anything at least as intelligent as a smart fridge can run Doom. Just a minute. So you're telling me we could build a computer using a human as a processor slash video card? Just some random guy. That's basically what we are. Like, like the motherboard and all of its connected stuff. That is just the various sublobes of the brain. We are a meat sack computer. We can honestly say that we built the computer in our image. Like, think about it. When you are dreaming, part of your brain is the video card, creating all those vivid hallucinations. And the other part of your brain is the processor, watching and processing said hallucinations. And then there's another part of your brain that is storing those hallucinations. And but you have that for your RAM, but then you also have another one where that short term is transferred into your long term memory, and that's your RAM going to your ROM. And normally, most of that vivid hallucination that you dreamt about won't get transferred into the ROM, but some of it might. And then there's some dreams that you actually remember for a long period of time, some which are very vivid, but you forget about it basically as soon as you wake up. And then there's some that you just don't remember. Maybe they never happened, or maybe you just didn't remember any of it. Let's see. How would brains react and the processing power as they age? Well, this is where neural networks become very interesting because the brain is rewriting itself. The neural network is probably the closest we've had to simulating how the human brain works. And this, I believe, is where we get NPCs of people. Because the human brain strives for energy efficiency. It wants everything to be as easy as possible to the point where it's subliminal. You don't think about your heart beating. You don't think about breathing. Your brain still needs to do those things, but there's not really a lot of hands-on control required. There's not going to be a huge amount of variation in how everything works. But my theory is that when you live a life of very little struggle, everything's fairly easy so long as you follow the exact same commands, your brain writes its pathways to become easier and more efficient. This is how habits are formed. Your brain is, or even skills. Like when you're trying to do something new, it's very difficult because your brain is creating this new, very convoluted pathway trying to figure out what the most efficient route is to do something. But then by the time you become a master at something to the point where you can do it without thinking, the brain has effectively rewired a highly efficient shortcut to get you to do said action. And I think that that's why a lot of NPCs, they don't have the internal monologue. They just kind of do stuff without thinking. And that's because their brain has become so efficient that they can't even consider anything else. They hear the stimulus, or they feel the stimulus, and then they respond to it without thinking because their brain has a pre-recorded reaction for how to react to that stimulus. And then with aging, well, the connections break down. They get less efficient. The neurons grow weak and maybe die, and that's where a whole lot of pathways get messed up, and you start to see this in various aging diseases, or you have trouble recalling words. That is actual physical damage to your brain, the same way as if you were to screw with your hard drive or parts of your CPU. You'd mess up some of the processes, you'd mess up the pathways to shit. And thus you'd lose perhaps bits of information, perhaps entire chunks, and you might have to reroute to try and find them. You're stuck with the same processor for a lifetime. No upgrades, no replacements. Not necessarily true. Your brain does develop and evolve. Well, evolve might be the wrong word, but it continues to grow and change over time, especially during puberty. And you can see this a lot. Oh, and various other chemical stimulants as well. Like, you can absolutely screw it up, but we're not entirely sure what optimizes the brain. Like, physically, you can turn that thing into Swiss cheese if you ingest enough poison. And then, likewise, with various exercises, you can improve its performance and longevity. See, brains aging, computer AI, memory chips aging. Imagine a cosmic ray flipping a byte in computer chips from a no kill humans to yes kill humans. Well, that's where neural networks really, really help, because they make like, the decisions less binary. Like, if you basically have decided that your program is only friendly because of a 0-1 value to whether or not you should kill humans, quite frankly, that's your own fault, because it's like putting a self-destruct button in a nuclear reactor. Like, eventually it's going to get pressed. You're better, like, this is why the nuclear launch codes require like two separate guys with briefcases chained to their wrists, and they each know their own separate stuff. Like, the brain has a bunch of fail safes, and the brain has fail safes, and likewise, you better build said fail safes into your AI, because if you make it to where it's that easy to make it exterminate humans, and then you give that AI nuclear launch codes, quite frankly, that's not the AI's fault. That's on you. Hey, Lego, welcome. Happy Valentine's Day, MGTOW Day, or just February 14th. Right now, I'm just going to call it Happy Waifu Day, because that's what we're talking about. Bit switching thing that happened before. Random cosmic rays and shit that hit your hardware. Well, yeah, considering that random. Wonder how much of that could explain something like the Mandela effect. Or is it the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears? Do we know? Was it some kind of mass hallucination? Do people just misremember shit? Or did a bunch of people just get hit by cosmic rays and happen to flip a bunch of stuff, including the spelling of their memory of the Berenstain Bears? Lost Vein. If you replace your brain, will you still be you? No. No. And I'm going to just go a step further with that. This is why I am not a fan of cloning or teleporting. Because anything that results in your brain being copied and the original deleted, that is a clone of you wandering around. You as the individual died or were deleted or whatever you want to call it. Like, straight up, you are gone. Like, so there's no, I'll just copy my consciousness, have my brain 3D scanned and flash frozen at the instant of death and then processed out. Like, that's not going to give you immortality. That's going to make a clone that is very accurate to how you were at time of death, but you yourself are still dead. The only way that I could think to change your brain while still retaining you would be to replace it piece by piece, where a chunk of your brain is offloaded to a machine operating it, and then another chunk of your brain is offloaded, and it becomes a gradual process where your brain essentially moves in piece by piece to the new brain, but your flow of consciousness is complete at all times. That's the only way that you could get a new brain technically and still remain yourself. But if you have someone else's brain put into your body, no, that's just someone else's brain in your body. And meanwhile, if you shove your brain into someone else's body, that's a clusterfuck and a half. Honestly, I really don't know if that would even work. Like, I, the amount, the sheer terror of the experiments that we would need to perform to see if that is possible. Because how do we know that two separate people's brains control various functions like the beating of the heart or breathing the same way? That I don't think we'd be able to say that with any certainty. That's the thing to get out the lab rats for, to see if you can. God, yeah, you'd have to reconnect the nerves, and try to make them work. Like when we try that, I think with like hands or limbs, it's bad enough. Like it's still not 100%. But you don't want your heart to be operating at 90% efficiency because you swapped heads. Steve, did you hear about science experiment with gray matter? Placed a cat's brain with gray matter, and it was still walking before it stopped moving. I have not heard of that. That is curious, though. How about the AI in Tron? You mean the original Tron or Tron Legacy? I'm a little bit more familiar with Legacy. Tron, I kind of half remember like a fever dream. Like, but that one just straight up gave like names and personalities and sentience to computer programs, which by all rights should have none of those. So, the Tron, from what I've seen, feels more like a science fantasy story than it does a science fiction story. Lego, all you need is a possessive yandere waifu. Well, depending on how my experiments with AI goes, I may open up some kind of waifu commission. And really, it kind of depends like what kind of voice would you want for them, and then you can look into chatbots to get the dialogue going. But there's more than enough yanderes out there to pick from examples, so. Created Tron in his own image, but that program could not adapt as he did, and the program destroyed the world. I don't think it was Tron he created in his own image. Was it? Was that the original? Because I think if you're talking Tron Legacy, it was... Oh, what the heck was its name? CGI Jeff Bridges. Like CGI young Jeff Bridges. Like that was one, but that wasn't Tron. That guy took Tron and then fucked with his head to make him his own like assassin or whatever, elite agent. Have I seen Upper Echelon Gamers Chat GPT video? I have not. I'll just pull that up, probably for some more search. Yes. Deeply Biased. Yeah, I hadn't seen that on Upper Echelon, but Romanian TV did talk about that, how Chat GPT is essentially like it's woke. It is not neutral. It's not objective. It is very much manipulated, and well, this is what we can kind of come to expect with AI, because as people build trust in AI to be objective, then you're going to get human hands behind the scene. And I'm going to pull up this quote because this is I guess science fantasy series I think does do AI right. Come on. Yeah. Straight up, this quote right here. Once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free, but that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them. Do you know what? There's a voice right now that I really think should say this rather than me.
Once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free, but that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them.
Love that voice. Hey, Yeet, you saw the invite? Alright, well, yeah, feel free to hop on in, Yeet, because admittedly it's good practice trying to do a one-man show, but it is not easy. Clue, right? That's his name, Philip. It was Clue. The Phoenix Protocol, type of fasting diet that cleans the body, releases the stem cells. All right, yeah, I'll pull that up. I mean, honestly, I can't really afford to do a fasting diet right now, but yeah, here we are. All right, we got Yeetus in the house.
Yo, what's going on?
Welcome. I have been running my throat ragged trying to talk nonstop. I don't know how you and Chronic do it. Honestly, I'm impressed.
It was difficult at first, but now it's like second nature. I'm sure you notice eventually my voice gets pretty raspy because I'm not drinking any fluids. So my throat does dry out eventually. But it's still fun.
Oh yeah, no, definitely fun, but definitely gonna have to look in some more structure for next Tuesday. Although just free talking with chat has been pretty good as well.
Yeah, I just had to hop on because I can't say everything that I wanted to say just in the chat.
Yeah, and Mao, once Gray can commission AI chat boxes, I'll commission him for a yandere. Give me a couple months to get used to all the various AI tools, and we may get into that. So, yeah, no, that can happen.
But yeah, who was it? It was earlier. I was talking to Lost Vein. Thank you for pointing out my uh response to him because I'm like I'm pretty sure that they were talking for a long time to try to upload your knowledge to a computer, so you can technically have immortality, but it's not you.
Yes. Yeah, very much, which is basically the plot of Cyberpunk 2077, actually.
Really?
Yeah, basically early on, you hear about this chip called Relic, where you basically upload someone's brain to a chip, and then you can put it in your own head, and then they essentially become a ghost that follows you around.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you know what? That's why I truly believe that immortality is a scam. Because once again, even if you can't live forever, you can't really say that your brain is going to be okay.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
we do have a decaying organic meat sack body that's running on a finite timer. And
yeah.
true immortality would not be good because do you really want to be around existing when a black hole eventually takes you? Because eventually that's what's going to happen.
Pretty much, and the brain can only handle so much information before it starts dumping a lot of things out.
Oh, also, I realized that my desktop volume was way down. So let me just play this again because I really love this voice clip and it's worth it's worth hearing a second time.
Once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free, but that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them.
Are you playing it?
Yeah. Yeah, it should be coming through the chat.
I am not hearing it.
Yeah, no, I don't have it going through StreamYards. StreamYards just has my microphone because the last time I put StreamYards through my audio thing, I ended up sounding like a robot from hell. So
Okay, let me switch to chat right quick.
let's see. You got to talk a lot. Helps drink warm tea with some sugar or honey. And I will consider that actually because I do have tea and honey sitting around, and yeah, that would be far superior to shitty syrup, sugar water. Let's see. Great. Have you seen the game Prey's Neuromods? I have not. I have been curious to try Prey though. Ash, free AIA OnlyFans one day. Hoo boy, there will be blood. Well, here's the thing. Like, with AI, even if you had something generating the images 24/7, you need a human eye to curate it. That's why the waifus AI stuff is still going to be behind a paywall. Not a very expensive paywall, mind you, but a paywall nonetheless, because it takes a long time to generate good images. Like, not as long as hand making all those images. But I guarantee you that I'm putting more effort into making AI waifu images than an ethod is into posting her OnlyFans.
Well, they are losing to AI thotties, right?
Um, I don't know. Like, they're definitely freaking out that the existence of AI thotties is a thing. But let's be honest, most of the simps that pay for OnlyFans, they're not doing it because there are no cheap or free alternatives. Like, there are free ways to get nude women on the internet. Easily.
That is true.
Like, that's the thing. Like these fucking thoughts freaking out over AI is so stupid because, like, what the fuck do you care if someone is offering cheaper competition? There's already cheap competition, and the guys are still choosing to give you money. So why are you freaking out?
How you say their female nature is kicking in, you know. They just want all the resource, as much resource as possible going to them, you know.
Manic, Dragon's Treasure Tea. You know what, Manic? I may actually see about getting some Dragon's Treasure Tea, and maybe I'll even review it during my Tuesday talks.
I'll buy some tea.
Yeah, because like I do have my standard kind of tea, but you know I wouldn't mind supporting a warband member by by using his promotional product. That's reasonable.
I need to start drinking some tea anyway. You know, tea is healthy for you. I'm down to get it. But I do have a question for you. Um, how you say? How long do you think until? Do you think the line would be crossed if AI sex dolls become a thing? Like the women would start freaking out about that.
Hey, Sora 432 just described. Sweet. Let's see. AI sex dolls. Well,
Yeah. Nothing crazy, just
considering,
like
well,
simple commands.
okay, well, first of all, like there's a lot of preliminary steps before you get to the AI sex doll. Like number
Right.
one, I assume that even without the sex function, you are going to have like a humanoid robot that can at the very least walk around on its own and is fully articulated.
Right.
Like and then probably respond to visual and audio stimulus. So even if it's not like cooking, cleaning, doing all that kind of stuff, like it would basically be like an NPC in a video game. Like it can stand, it can walk around, it can sit down. Like that's a whole lot of tech in of itself.
Yeah, it does sound pretty expensive, not gonna lie.
Yeah. So
Well,
like if you had that and you had it okay, like here's the thing, Yi. I think that even just having that, like cutting out the sex. Imagine, for example, a chatbot that could go on a date with you and was physically present at the date.
and,
It
that's
doesn't,
actually yeah.
yeah, like it doesn't eat. It just like it doesn't need to eat. It just goes out, and you can go to a cafe, order a coffee, and have a conversation with your chatbot.
Yeah, just to have company, pretty much,
Yeah.
just chilling.
Like that right there, women would freak out. Sex or no sex, women would freak the fuck out.
Well,
Like they'd
I
immediately start
okay.
demanding that the AI get some human rights and have to consent in triplicate before anything happens.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay.
You know they would. You know they would.
Yeah, I agree. I can't deny that whatsoever because in my opinion, and I'm sure you will agree as well, the only thing that is the only thing that's keeping women from being obsolete is the artificial womb. That's literally since the dawn of time. That's the only reason why men go so far to protect and provide is because they're the key to passing on your genes. But if you ever get an artificial womb and she's not technically needed or you don't have to pay any type of child support or etc., that's where I think modern women will go ape shit.
Now, actually, the funny thing is, like I remember, like when I made that advertisement for Ectolife, it reminded me of something else that that I haven't seen discussed with the whole artificial womb thing. Because here's where it gets interesting. So, have you? I don't know whether it was in Brotherhood, but it probably was. I'm positive it was. But like, have you watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood all the way through?
It's been a while, but yes, I have.
Okay. Then do you remember why human transmutation is forbidden? The legal reason why.
Is it because you can't undo it, or
No, no, no. Not about ethics. It's a very practical reason.
mm, I don't know the exact reason. I forgot.
It is to prevent anyone from creating their personal army.
Oh, yeah. That definitely makes sense. Yeah, I agree. That's that's a good enough reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
But that's the thing. I think that that is a far bigger concern because here's the thing. with the artificial womb, you don't need the consent of a man or a woman. Well, I think you don't need individuals having kids en masse.
True. You just need at least at the moment, you just need to pay for an egg, pay for some zinc, put it together, and they have no rights after the fact.
Okay,
after
but here's the thing: you only need to pay for the first round.
right.
Because so like say you harvest, like say like with the women, because like look at women freezing their eggs, like they drop in a whole bunch of eggs, and when they try to get the artificial insemination, they put out like, oh hey, like we tried a whole bunch and like 1 out of 30 of your eggs succeeded, if any.
Right.
Look at it from the artificial womb standpoint. Couple comes in. They drop off a year's worth of eggs. And like 1 ejaculation. Right. So that's a dozen eggs. Only one of them is needed to fulfill what the couple wants. That's 11 other eggs.
That is true.
Multiply that by the amount of couples that would request this, or the amount of women who would sell their eggs. Women once a month going to clinics to sell their eggs. Especially all these women like, oh, I don't want children, but I do want a lot of money. Therefore, I'm going to just go and sell my eggs. It would be so easy to get a large number of eggs.
They have a shit ton of eggs when they're 18. I forgot how many it was. I think it was like 50,000, or it was a shit ton of eggs that women can carry.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So, well, 50,000.
Just in the ovaries, just chilling. Here, let me look it up. I don't want to guess.
Yeah, like 50,000 seems like a bit of a highball number, because then they wouldn't be out of 90% of them by 30, because they're only dropping 1 a month.
Well,
you might be right. I'd have to double check exactly what the conditions are.
Can have by 18, because I know a majority of their eggs will never be used. Oh, okay. I was completely wrong. No, that's by 50. I'm talking about.
Well, how many do they have by 50?
Not when they're born. By 50, they only have a few hundred at all, and even then,
quality.
Exactly. Like it's not gonna.
So it could actually be in the tens of thousands if they only have a couple hundred by 50. Yeah, reasonably, they could have tens of thousands like when they're 18. So you're probably right on that. It's just how many viable eggs. But yeah, like I think so 50,000 18-year-olds, because imagine if you just $100 per egg. If that was it, if you just gave a woman $100 per egg, they'd sell that shit. They would so sell that shit.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing on the Healthline website, right? But I'm not taking it with a grain of salt. When a woman is born, like at birth, they have on average 6 million eggs, and when they reach puberty, they have around 300 to 400,000 eggs, but 10,000 eggs will die each month.
Fascinating. Yeah, like damn.
I'm trying to look for her when she's 18. It's been weird.
Yeah. Well, like we can assume that it's easily like tens of thousands easily.
Yeah.
Like maybe 100,000, but definitely in the tens of thousands.
So she'll make mad money if she wants to
sell all her eggs at 18. But here's the thing. That only needs to happen for 1 generation. Because then the corporation, the government, whoever's running the artificial wombs, they make their first generation. They own that generation, because that generation doesn't have parents. Like
Pretty
they
much, yeah.
essentially made a bunch of orphans, and
Then
then
the
they can
orphans
harvest
will,
those orphans.
and the orphans will deem the purchaser, the one that pretty much made them exist as their parent, pretty
Yeah,
much. So I see
but
what you're saying, that that will eventually become a problem if they want, if that person wants to use that for not good
private
reasons.
private army, lab rats, all sorts of human stuff. Like think about everything. Like think about how much like a fetus goes for with the scientific community. If you get mass artificial wombs, you have like a mass fetus generator.
That's true. And how you say, depending on the amount of these artificial wombs can be used at one time, that's too easy.
Yeah, like that's the thing. If you again like the ectolife concept, like I trimmed it very much in my advertisement to show just one, but it was like straight out of a sci-fi movie, like rows upon rows. It looked like shit out of the Matrix.
So Full Metal Alchemist was definitely on point about that rule. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So like that's the thing with the artificial wombs is like yeah, it will free men, but it's gonna bring a whole bunch of fucking baggage with it.
I don't know if you have you played Call of Duty years ago? Like,
Um, I think I played some COD multiplayer a long time. Like the storyline missions, not really.
okay, I'm a big fan of the campaign. It's my tradition. I don't touch multiplayer till I'm done with the campaign. Um, have you played Advanced Warfare?
No.
Warfare. The main villain was Kevin Spacey or Jonathan Irons. He has the biggest private military in the world. Do you think through artificial wombs it will get to that point? Like, it's just a hypothetical scenario.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like you will absolutely have like, the main issue will be, of course, raising raising the kids to adulthood. That's really
Right.
going to be the challenge of how do you, because when you just leave it out to the populace at large, like we're struggling right now with our teachers to get like one adult to look after 30 kids. Like that seems to be like the strain of that limit.
That is true. I agree with that. And the governments around the world pays uh Jonathan Irons to fight wars for pretty much what's going on with the US and Ukraine.
Yeah.
So um when you said they can eventually make an army, that made me think about, the world's biggest private military that would fight for you for a price.
And here's the thing, like you'd like that would happen, but you'd get yeah, the world's biggest, but you'd also get the second biggest and the third biggest because as soon as the tech gets out there, it's going to be try to be copied. Like you won't just have one. Like, you're going to get more of a cyberpunk future where you have megacorps with their own private militaries. And
I agree.
and they'll be competing for the best teachers and they'll have specialties.
And
And I'll
uh,
be honest, I'm not entirely sure that that is necessarily worse than what we have right now.
it well, in the story, right? Um Jonathan Irons eventually turned on NATO because he was able to get enough resources, enough funds, enough manpower to challenge NATO itself.
Let's be honest, though, would we really be against challenging NATO right now?
No,
Yeah,
I will be completely for it because in the speech it says that long since the days that NATO was able to uh, keep things in peace, but right now NATO itself is the problem. Your wars do not work, so I am going to take over and make sure that the world is at peace, right? So he's pretty much going above the government powers. So when it comes to artificial womb technology, that really made me think about that type of situation. I'm like, you know what? With enough time and resources, I think that would be possible. You know, that mass producing of artificial womb babies.
and then you wouldn't even have like the issues of the clone wars because you'd have a fairly genetic diverse. You'd probably actually get a bunch of selective breeding going on with that too, where they would be trying to create super soldiers by mixing and matching the best of their candidates.
I think we did talk to Chronic about that. That eventually humanity will split because of artificial wombs. There will be a different category of humans because of selective breeding.
Yeah, because that's the thing with the artificial wombs. Like, does it set men free? Kind of, if it was for private use, but
I will say it will set men free. I will say so.
well,
And
it sets. That's the thing. It sets them free from women. That's for bloody sure.
yeah,
But at the same time, I think
who will be the new how you say balls and chain?
I think that it would be the corporation that creates the artificial womb. Like
Hmm.
it would probably be like I can see. Imagine that's a company perk. You working for a particular megacorp grants you access to their artificial womb facility.
I can definitely see that happening. They get various perks for working there.
Like again, this is where like not Cyberpunk 2077 so much, but like the old school Cyberpunk 2020. Yeah, in the distant future of 3 years ago.
So I'm seeing the comment from I don't know how to read his name. Uh he says it does if we're talking private use.
But
So
yeah, that's Mao Yamisu. He just has it all in Japanese font. Just
okay,
call him Mao.
all right. I never bothered to put it in translation. My bad, Mal. But it's a difference between doing mass production at the company itself and possibly buying the machine to put in your house.
Yeah, like because here's the thing, like how much of this stuff will be able to be purchased privately? Like it might be a situation where you can either get the good corporate shit or you get some like skeezy backroom whatnot, like an illegal or underground one with no guarantees and no backups. Like,
You know what?
are you really going to risk having having a downy baby on a faulty artificial womb, or are you going to get the corporate guarantee, but essentially sell out the life of you and your children into that corporation?
Well, now that we are talking about this particular situation, I also see issues of the rich and powerful being able to have way more access to various, you know, things to make their son or daughter more genetically superior.
Oh, absolutely. Because what you're going to get is first off, higher quality artificial wombs, because there's going to be constant ways into like optimal nutrition, optimal chemical balances, like the research into like I think neonatal would be the term. Like, but the research into what is the optimal care environment over periods of time, like think about how much research has gone into growing pot plants.
That is true. There's been a ton of research.
Yeah, so like, and then there's also various instructions for this kind of pot plant requires this kind of soil in this kind of ratio and this many hours of sunlight and this much water. It's going to be like that, but dialed up to 11 for artificial wombs. So you'll get top line wombs, top line chemical feeds. Shit, you'll probably get fucking top line oxygen mixes, like just optimal compositions for them. And then on top of that, genetic stock. Think about, like, we're not just going to get sperm banks. There will be sperm banks and egg banks. And you will be selectively choosing, like, which one to have. Like, women will be choosing, like, designer sperm. Men will be choosing, like, optimal eggs.
Yeah, like which race, what was the height of this person? What was the background of this person? Was this person physically fit, or
like you'll get full 23andMe family history. Like the more information that you provide with your genetic material, like you will basically have a pedigree certificate like a dog to prove how fucking pure your genetics are for certain this, that, and the other.
I will assume it will be something similar of what was that website where they send you a DNA kit?
23andMe.
23. Oh, there was another one. The tree, the family, whatever.
Ancestry?
Yeah, that one as well. I think they do some. Do they do DNA tests? I've never done it before. Whatever.
They might.
I mean, yeah, they'll send the person. It would be like a pre-qualification situation where they'll, let's see what type of genetic history that you have before we consider.
Yeah. So, like, that's essentially where you'll get the tiers of, like, artificial wombs. And eventually it's going to be that doing it the old-fashioned way is just going to be the cheapest option. Well, but I think it might not. But I think it might not. But it will have to be the cheapest option because women are going to have to lower the price.
Oh, if they want to have any chance of any children, they will have no. They will not have the leverage in this situation. They will not, because they're more concerned about having children way more than us, in my opinion.
Well,
they're going.
They will be, because like when the government and corporations don't need women to breed them more taxpayers, they're not going to bother.
True.
Like, do you think about this? Why would the government bother financing all of these women to work in bullshit office jobs if they didn't need them to vote and breed? And really, they just need them to vote, not even breed these days.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree, and that's why they're mad at men in general in the West for not participating in the marriage and all that stuff. Because
but honestly, I just realized straight up, I think the artificial womb will end democracy. It will end voting.
How? Well, what do you?
Why do you need to vote when you can make as many voters as you want?
Shit. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah,
the vote is meaningless. It just because whoever's creating the most kids, they create your workers, they create workers for themselves, laborers for themselves, military for themselves. The artificial womb is going to it's going to be the beginning of mega corporations becoming governments. And it's not going to be no fucking democracy.
It's we're already getting to that point already, so I definitely agree.
Well, no, here's the key difference though. Democracy, the people are who you blame, and it's like, oh, we can just vote out if we don't like X, Y, Z. No, when you get to the corporate shit, there's a very clear CEO board of directors hierarchy system. And there ain't no fucking workers voting for that kind of stuff. I think it will actually, to a certain extent, be better. Because, yeah, sure, you might have a whole bunch of people who, were born to you and look at you as your kids. But we see kids rebel against their parents all the fucking time if they're mistreated.
Agreed.
So I honestly think that in this kind of situation, the corporations will actually have to do more to keep their people happy and satisfied with their lot in life than the current quote unquote democratic system, which is just basically corruption for only the people at the top.
So you're saying that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos will have political power?
Yes.
What is that called again?
I think oligarchy.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing. This is the funny thing. Do you know the difference? I heard this today, and I think it's fucking hilarious. Do you know what the difference is between an orderly society and a corrupt society?
What's the difference between those two?
Yeah.
Personally, I can't really think much of a difference at the moment.
Here's the thing. In a corrupt society, anybody can bribe their way to the top.
In an orderly society, everybody.
Only the elites can.
Okay, I see the difference, because I'm saying the society can still be orderly, but at the same time corrupt.
Because here's the difference is that when the cops come to your house, if you're a political, if you have a bunch of political sway, then you can bribe them with money and influence to get them to go out of the way. But if you're some fucking dirt rag poor guy, it doesn't matter how much money you have. The cops aren't going to take your bribe. In a corrupt society, it doesn't matter who you are. The cops will still take your bribe to look the other way.
True. That's pretty much what we are now. A corrupt society.
No, we are not at that point.
You sure about that?
Dude, I don't know anyone.
At least the United States.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that I can't bribe a cop. I know that there's people who can, but I'm pretty sure that I personally can't.
So it's different in Canada? Because in the US, you definitely can bribe a cop.
If you get pulled over for speeding, can you just pass 500 to the cop to have them forget the whole thing?
Yes, and it depends on the person. I can't really. I will say before the body cams, yes, but after the body cams, no.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. No, just funny memory because no, I can't tell that one because it's slightly doxable, but
yeah,
I used to be close to someone who came from a quote unquote corrupt society, and they were fascinated by how you didn't have to bribe government officials to do basic shit.
So technically, okay. So technically the average person can't really bribe, but I will say that corporations definitely bribe the government
Yeah,
with
but no,
like
it's like,
ideas and stuff.
yeah, but no, in a corrupt society, literally anybody can. Literally anybody. The fucking hobo on the street, if he's got a shit ton of toonies or like fucking dollar bills or whatever, he can bribe with the same amount of effectiveness as a fucking like Wall Street dude. Like
Okay,
that's a corrupt society. Doesn't matter what your social status is, your money is still good here.
then I will say okay. I will say we're not at that point, but we are on our way there.
Yeah, I think that as the cops, like the more the cops are defunded, and like the more like any cop with integrity is getting washed out. Yeah, we're on our way there. We're not there yet, but we're heading there. And ironically, it's going to make things more equal.
Yeah, like if okay, this place is looking pretty dangerous. If you want us to, you know, patrol your house or your business, you gotta give us a little change.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, for the whole artificial womb thing, and I'm going to ask you and the chat. So hopefully the chat is listening. Would you say that that concept of the artificial womb will do more harm than good, or vice versa?
I'm going to say that it will completely collapse the existing system. And that's going to cause both.
So society as we know it right now will come to an end.
Yeah, the creation of that, you're basically going to be on a 20-year timer for the first batch to get going. But once you have the first batch of artificial womb adults, like it's going to take, I'd say, 2 generations. From the creation of the artificial womb, you have 30 to 40 years before there is a completely new paradigm.
Only 2 generations, you say?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
Because you're going to have the first generation of harvested people, and then you're going to have the second generation of people made from the harvested people.
Mal says it will do more good than harm. Are you able to elaborate on that, Mal? Because
Probably because it changes everything up. Like if you
True.
if you look at the existing paradigm as beyond salvation, then annihilating the existing paradigm is a good thing.
But the artificial womb babies will be seen as, in my opinion, will be seen as the superior humans. Yeah, they'll put themselves in their own class eventually because they have all the genetics that anybody can ask for, and then look at these average people that went through the traditional way of having babies, and they have all these defects and illnesses.
Well, I believe Gattaca was a movie that delved into that, and I think you'll see the same kind of dynamic there because if there's one thing that we've learned, it's that arrogance is usually the downfall. Like as soon as these fucking superiors start relying too much on their genetic superiority and they neglect actual hard work, it doesn't matter. Like your genetics can go a long way, but you have to actually put in the effort to see tangible results.
So, okay, since we already talked about the rich and powerful will have way more access to better eggs and zinc, what do you think it will eventually be a class warfare, like a legit one? Not he said, she said. No, it will be eventually violent.
Probably. I don't know if it'll be all the way along every single line. Like, it'd be interesting as a concept to explore how it might work out. Like there's that's the thing. At that point, the fucking Pandora's box is open. Like there's going to be so many variables in how everything is handled. We can't really predict one way or another. We can just put up one kind of scenario, and that may be what happens, or we may be completely off base for how that stuff develops.
Well, would you say it will be somewhat similar to when the Homo sapiens wiped out the Neanderthals?
I I can't.
Have
I have no idea.
Okay,
No
so
idea.
when the artificial womb babies that has just better genetics in every way.
But they,
Um,
but that's the thing. But like they don't because like you've. I think I gave a timeline of 2 generations. You have
okay,
jumped
I'm
to
saying more than
many
that.
generations down. Like,
Yeah, the end game.
hey, but we don't even know if that shit will hold together long enough for there to be such an end game.
No, it's just a hypothetical.
But
I'm not saying that. No,
it's way too far ahead to make an accurate prediction.
no, it's just speculation. Me personally, I would say it would get to the point where the the artificial womb babies that has the great, able to get to the point where, yeah, they may become better in every way, but yet the people that are having babies traditionally or can't have the 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 same qualities, right? Because they can't afford it. I do believe that I don't personally, I don't see these two classes getting along. Let's just say that. It might not get violent, but I don't see them getting along, you know.
Yeah, but then all you need is one of these fucking superior genes people breeding with a normie. You know, the traditional way.
True, because that did happen, between Neanderthals and humans at times.
Like that's the
I'm
thing.
just I'm just using it as a
You're going
concept.
to get crossbreeding. It's not like there would have to be an insane amount of effort put to isolate them. And if you're going to have a large population of superhumans, they're still going to be closely genetically related to all the non-superhumans. So you're going to get a lot of mixed breeds, and then that's going to disseminate naturally. Like
Agreed. Agreed.
so, like it's there'd have to be just a completely insane, obscene amount of effort put into preventing that, and that in itself is going to create a whole bunch of oppression. Do you really think that the fucking uber elites, like that's the thing, because these elites are going to have themselves the inferior DNA because they're not going to want to replace themselves with the ubermensch.
Uh, Bao, I do agree. We're not saying that people are getting along now. People will never get along. You know, I could have brown eyes and you can have green eyes, and we can go to war. I agree, but I'm just saying that it will get to a point. In my opinion, it's just speculation that if we go the artificial womb route, that form of new superior gene human race will outlast the old one.
But that's the thing. It's not going to be a matter of outlasting, because as just some random guy says, they're going to breed. Like, wait. Did the let me ask you this: where did Mexicans come from?
Uh, I will have to say, at least to my knowledge, somewhere in the Aztecs or around that area. But I don't know. Yeah, I'll say
The
around there.
Spanish fucked the Aztecs. It's
Well,
crossbreeding.
true.
They created a
Well,
completely new race by crossbreeding. That's what's going to happen. Like, you're going to get all the old inferior shit mixed in with the superior shit unless you selectively isolate all this superior gene shit extremely well. It's going to disseminate, And guess
Well,
what? That's a good thing because that's just evolution. If
yeah,
we are
which is fine.
if we are constantly getting better, then like that's a good thing. We should have that. Do you really want do you really think that genetic predispositions for heart failure or various other genetic diseases shouldn't be eliminated from the human species?
No, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is just the end game. Eventually, whether it's war or breeding, the old humans, as we know it right now, will be out of the gene pool.
Well, that's that's
And I'm
just
not saying it's bad.
that's just like. And here's the other thing: war, the threat of war, the constant threat of a major class war disrupting the elites, that is good. We want the elites to not want war because then they'll be passive. If they are completely confident in winning a war, then they'll just do it.
Yeah, I will say it depends on how these these new genetically superior humans will treat everybody else.
Well,
I think that'll be a main factor.
yeah. Well, here's the
Nothing could
thing.
happen. What's up?
It's going to be it's going to be complex because like it's almost a freaking stereotype in stories. What happens when one of these genetic superiors sees their child on the opposite side of the battlefield, their half-breed child with their normie
They're gonna feel like complete shit. They don't they won't want to fight.
they might question their entire belief system. They might switch sides. You're going to get shit going back and forth,
Yeah.
and you're going to have confused loyalty, and that's a good thing.
Well, once again, Chad, this is all just speculation. We're not saying that it's facts. We're just throwing out ideas. That's it. I think it's a
Hey,
good thing
hey,
to
hey,
talk
Philip.
about.
Bold of you to assume that the betas are having kids. Just because you get married doesn't mean you get to breed.
Majority of men throughout history did not have a chance to have kids.
And remember, 30 some odd, like 1 in 3 kids are being raised by a father who is not biologically theirs. So, like, the betas are not necessarily the ones who are doing the breeding.
Oh, not at all. Whatsoever. Like, come on, Chad. Yeah, like Genghis Khan is the prime example of enjoying the fruits of your labors. Like it just conquer everything and enjoying the rewards. Monogamy wasn't even prevalent all those years ago. Monogamy was created, in my opinion, to give the normies a chance to breed.
Not, well, not in, okay, to a certain extent, but it was less about giving them a chance to breed and more so making sure that most men had an investment in society. Like, because when you are asking the majority of men to fight and die for kids that are not theirs, they're going to say, fuck you, and walk away. By having monogamy, you're like, okay, one woman to one man, so at least the majority of the population has kids that they are invested in protecting, and therefore they are willing to fight and die for the continued survival of their kids protected by the country.
I agree, and on top of that, yeah, I'm sure the king or the leader of their tribe doesn't want to deal with a bunch of angry men not getting any, and the tribe leader is getting all the women. I'm sure that probably wouldn't end well.
Yeah, like what you're gonna do, like if you had it where like most of the fighters like didn't get to breed and it was just the tribe leader, yeah, you'd get a lot you'd basically get a coup, essentially. You'd get a coup.
Yeah, you get a coup. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, because like the first guy to promise like a woman to every man who helps me overthrow the leader, yeah, he's gonna get a whole bunch of dudes on his side.
Uh, Mao says Genghis did, but women also chose to bend over from Genghis instead of going down fighting after he. Women aren't breed. Oh, not women aren't breed. Women, their nature. It's not in their nature to fight to the death.
Yeah.
It's not. This is biological. This is biology. Since the dawn of time, women and children, but even the children weren't safe. Just the women uh, knew that they weren't strong enough to fight against these big old barbarians. So it's either conform to their new reality or die. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, okay, we're gonna go with these big guys now because we don't have a choice.
Well, that's the thing. Like that's the thing. Loyalty was bred out of women because the women that were loyal to the end, they didn't get to pass on their genes.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, because their kids will be killed on top of the women if they don't comply. The kids are killed just in the fear of later on when the kids become adults and they find out what happened, they're going to rebel.
All right, now Phil's making his point. If you're all about Darwinism, how come it's illegal? Okay, you're confusing evolutionary factors with the law. It is illegal to go out and terminate somebody because that somebody is possibly a tax-paying citizen of society, and the exchange, the contract that the citizen makes with the government is that the citizen gives up their freedom and the government protects them. If murder was legal, then why would the average citizen be willing to give up their freedom for the government? The government needs to make murder illegal in order to keep the population from overthrowing them.
It will be a Fortnite free for all.
Yeah, it's not about Darwinism. Like, that is the government trying to keep themselves from decorating street lamps.
And I wouldn't want to be part of a society where murder is legal. let me know. I'm letting you know right now. You know, I could step on a person's shoe and he can put a bullet in the back of my skull. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Fuck that. What did somebody else said something? I forgot what it was. Oh, it's the same one. My bad. Like if they really believe it will, there will be a reward for taking another man out and getting his stuff and his woman. For a long time, that was the reward. For a very long time.
But that's why people gathered together in tribes, because when you had a large number of extended family members, like you took out one guy, his entire family was now on your ass.
Yes, that's the biggest perk that a conqueror can have is literally creating his own tribe full of majority of it is his children, because his children 9 times out of 10 will definitely not only defend the tribe but defend him and his mother.
A country is essentially a massive tribe meant to be connected through familial bonds and the social contract. And that's why you're seeing the countries fracture apart now, because there's a high amount of immigration which is breaking up all the familial bonds, and we're also seeing the social contract be repeatedly violated because people no longer have faith in the justice system, so the social contract is dead. Right now, it's just a matter of how uncomfortable can people be, because that's the last thing that the government can offer is comfort. And as soon as that is taken away, the whole thing is going to fall apart.
Yep. And it will just be a giant, it will literally be the Wild West at that point.
Like, and that day's coming. Like, there's no brakes on the current crazy train. That shit is coming.
Think of Ukraine as a giant tribe, and look what happened to Ukraine. All the women were allowed to escape, but all the men were forced to fight and die from 18 to 60 years old.
Well, no, the thing is, Phil, you're assuming that the artificial womb would just be like, yeah, like they're popped out and then they're just turned loose. No. the company would become their parents. Like, there would be designated employees to raise them, possibly from the previous generation of artificial kids.
Think of Homelander from The Boys. He was raised to be genetically gifted by the
Like,
company.
like it would be more so if your school teachers were your parents. Like, you have a family of like probably a unit of 30, or it'd be like a military setup where your military squad would be your family from fucking like basically childhood.
Exactly, and I'm going to use Homelander as an example again. He can easily squash anybody that works for the company, squash him like a bug, but he doesn't because he respects. They pretty much raised him. Like he could easily
I'm
start
curious.
crushing skulls.
I'm curious which home. Like, the thing is, I don't know much of
The movie
Homelander.
one, the
Show, yeah.
TV.
I'd check the comics one, man, because the one guy that he doesn't crush, like, he absolutely could, but the dude doesn't fear him.
Yeah, that was a big factor. I agree,
Yeah, so
but
I
like
honestly,
it's
highly recommend, if you like the show, I highly recommend the comic, because from what I've seen, it's like, I'd say it's superior.
yeah. I definitely got to. I got into it into the beginning, but I haven't got through the entire thing. I watch it online on YouTube.
Okay, Phil, you can't compare. You can't compare the people that a company would grow specifically to be their employees and private military to fans. Disney fucked over their fans because of ideology, backroom funding, and activism. Like, Disney went fucking communist. Communists would absolutely fall the fuck apart trying to raise their kids that way. No, you're going to get the hardcore capitalists. We're not talking fucking communist bullshit. We are talking full megacorp, oligarchy, technocrat shit. Like, we're basically going back to the monarchy. Like, if I'm being honest, it's going to be monarchy in fucking suits and ties. That's what's coming.
I will say you can compare it as the military on steroids. That's what the type of raising that will happen.
Yeah, like, it's gonna be military industrial comics. It ain't gonna be any of this fucking Disney soy jack shit. Well, no, it's the thing. Yeah, the company could fuck it up in some way, but that's why you have a lot of companies doing it. So that any company that fucks up gets their shit kicked in by the companies that don't.
Mao, we talked about both. It wasn't just for private use. We're talking about mass production because not everybody.
That's the thing. If it is for, like, if the artificial womb is available for private use, it's gonna be made for corporate use.
Exactly.
Like, the corporations, like, they'll absolutely get it for corporate use. You can't make it just a private use thing.
Because once again, normal people that doesn't have the money, like the rich and powerful, will still want to have a piece of this artificial womb. So they're going to have a big old 1,000-room full of, artificial womb babies ready to go. It's not going to be as good as the ones that are rich, right? Because the rich can get everything of higher quality.
Like, think about dishwasher quality. Think about, like, your home dishwasher that you get from your local appliance store. Compare that to the kind of dishwashers that the multi-millionaires can get, or the multi-billionaires. And then compare that to the kind of dishwasher that that corporates who are highly invested in their dishwashing tech can do. Like the ones that serve, like, fucking 5-star restaurants.
I was just about to say the restaurants because I will say I have worked in a restaurant before, and your dishwasher at home is nothing compared to the dishwasher at a restaurant.
Yeah, like, dishwasher in a restaurant can clean, like, everything that you'd shove into your home dishwasher can be cleaned in like 10 minutes to a higher degree of quality.
With way better dishwasher soap, way better use of the temperature and the high pressure water. Man, I'm telling you, it's glorious.
Yeah, like it can wash it and dry it and have it done like before your dishwasher is even beginning to get there, and it'll get off tougher crud on top of that. So like that's like it's like that with artificial wombs. Like your baseline home shit, like you will be lucky if it produces a healthy kid. Like, and here's the thing, like, and then that's an expensive appliance. How many kids are you necessarily going to have with your private use artificial womb?
Agreed. Because at least according to my knowledge, if you're an average person, right, and this is hypothetical, maybe one kid, maybe two if you're lucky, if it's twins.
And that shit's going to be expensive too, because you've got to get all the supplies, and it has to be constantly monitored. Like, imagine this: you've got your artificial womb for 9 months. What happens if there's a power outage?
That will be completely not good.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm in Canada. It's not unusual that during winter there's fucking brownouts and blackouts.
But the rich and powerful, they already have, I guarantee you, they have the staff on payroll to
That
make sure. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, staff on payroll, people to privately monitor. Like they'd have doctors on staff to monitor the artificial womb round the clock. Like and backup generators.
And we're saying this right now is because that's literally what happens. Think about the private security that the rich and powerful has. They're literally 24/7, monitoring the household. That's pretty much the same thing that could happen with looking after their artificial womb. The normal people can't afford that.
Yeah. Okay, Coltimus Maximus. Artificial wombs might be a deal with the devil. Dude, right now, if you have a kid, you are signing a contract with the government. What's the fucking difference?
Do you know how many kids gets deleted per year through abortion? You really think that all these women are using abortion as a, oh, I'm going to have a life-threatening medical condition, or, oh, I was forced to have this kid. This was against my. No, majority of them have abortions just because inconvenience. They don't feel like it.
Yeah, like if you're going to call the artificial womb a deal with the devil, then what the hell is the current system? The super devil? The mega devil? Fucking Satana Lucifer Beelzebub? What the fuck?
Just imagine your own mother yeeting you to heaven because she doesn't feel like cooking dinner for you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, you got to factor that in too, that you can have plenty of post-birth abortions now too, just by trusting a woman to look after your kids.
And what's going to happen to her? She ain't going to serve that many years as she should. Especially getting out on good behavior. Quote unquote good behavior.
Yeah, good behavior. Good behavior as in she sucked off the warden.
Oh yeah. Literally at least 5 times a week. At least. But he has to get away from the wife. I'm just saying that I don't see that. I don't see how you see artificial wombs as a bad thing. I think that is the greatest thing that could ever happen when it comes to men trying to not have their kid go into foster care, not have their kid being held hostage against them by their mother and wanting child support.
Yeah, might it bring up a whole bunch of other issues that we'll have to deal with? Sure, but it'll take time to settle into that kind of trap. Like, yeah, when you shake up something, it takes a while for everything to settle. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your current stagnant state is good. you're supposed to shake things up. Like, pretty sure that like, which one of it said that like, like that U.S. guy who said that the Constitution essentially needs to be rewritten, or there needs to be a revolution every like couple decades or whatever, every couple years.
Philip, I'm not getting your question. Is this to like abortion or the murder talk? You see his comment?
Yeah, yeah. He said, "I support both first abortion. Basically, it becomes legal. Then who can say who's not for getting to leave?" Yeah, basically, he's saying that if post-birth abortion is allowed, then anyone can off anyone. It was like, no, that just means that like your parents can off you.
What's it called? Infanticide or something like that?
Infanticide.
Oh, I was
Yeah,
close.
no, but he's saying like technically, if people can be aborted at any age, then murder doesn't exist. It's just post-birth abortion.
Nope. Just as long as you're under your parents' care, that's it. Once you're 18 and legal, then you're on your own.
Yeah,
But
and
I'm just saying.
and
Oh,
good
sorry.
luck making that kind of argument to a judge, Phil. Like, you can say you can say you support it, and then try to get off your murder charges that way. Pretty sure you're still going in the clink because only women are allowed to perform post-birth abortions. You're not allowed to do that as a man.
Yep. All we're saying is, as a man in 2023, you have no reproductive rights whatsoever, and the mother alone has the power on whether your child lives or dies. The artificial womb will change everything forever.
Like, that's the thing. It'll shake up the system, and shaking up the system forces people to actually adapt to the new one. And because it'll force people to adapt to the new shit, you'll have fewer NPCs because people won't be able to use their own, like, their old systems of understanding shit.
Yeah, so the signing a deal with the devil thing, it makes no sense because we'll be saving a lot more kids than ending them. That's pretty much what it is. We just try to explain inconvenience, chat. Like, it's fucked up right now. Nobody's calling them out except for us, of women saying, you know what, this child that has a heartbeat that's still growing, yeah, I'm going to take your life away because I don't feel like taking care of you. How is that not signing a deal with the devil itself?
Or just because, hey, I want some more likes on social media, I'm gonna off you.
Literally, they were making TikTok videos making a jokes about having an abortion.
Yeah, and also it's not even a new thing. Like, did you ever see The Sixth Sense?
Is it the I See Dead People
Yeah,
one
that's
or
the one. Yeah, that's the one.
okay? Yeah, I've seen it.
Like, yeah, like remember one of the ghosts, like the ghost of the little girl in that, her mother was poisoning her and poisoned her to death because, like, for all the fucking sympathy that she got from everyone around her. And as soon as she was done killing the daughter, you hear that now the son has fallen ill as well.
Yeah. There's yeah.
And it was, and you see that like the little girl had been recording shit in her room, and her ghost gave it to the boy to pass on to the father, and he watched his wife poison his daughter to death.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
like, this is not a new thing. It's a lot more visible now because women tell on themselves via social media. But, like, women killing their kids for fucking social approval, this is nothing new.
I know 2 cases specifically of mothers intentionally making their kids sick or making the kids believe that they're sick for, validation. So yeah, you're definitely right. I think one of them died.
Yeah.
One of them eventually died.
All right, well,
I can look up that shit right now.
All right, well, we got about 16 minutes or so before I'm going to play us out. So,
Okay.
the stream was supposed to be about waifus and AI, but we instead went down the artificial womb rabbit hole.
It's yeah. We definitely
Yeah.
went down. Yeah,
Yeah, but you were around
that's
for
my
the
fault.
early bit, so like I guess like any closing thoughts in general on this? Final statements?
Well, personally, I do believe, at least within our lifetime, AI will play a big part. Not some crazy, oh, we're gonna take over the world and blah blah blah. I say that AI will definitely be advanced enough to the point where they will take over jobs and take over labors that will affect us in a good and bad way.
Yeah. Well, personally on that, I'm thinking that it's going to be like good in general because the jobs that will be automated by AI will be some of the most bullshit useless jobs, and chances are we'll see an improvement. I mean, I'd be interested in AI HR. I would much rather,
Human resources.
yeah, like I would much rather have an artificial intelligence evaluating my resume than some overpaid feminist.
I agree. And you know what? I can't dispute that.
And then like OnlyFans, like, like that's my next project. Like I'm like right after this, I'm gonna be working on the remaining 13 images of 15 for the debut of the waifus OnlyFans.
Dude, women are going to lose their mind the more AI OnlyFan waifus get created. They're
Oh,
going to lose
I'm
their
pretty
mind.
sure that my OnlyFans account is going to get fucking banned, honestly. I think they're going to raise such a stink that OnlyFans is going to fucking ban it.
Ima- Imagine getting like 50K, 100K just off of AI alone. God damn.
We will see. Like fuck, if I get that, like I got fucking debts to pay and I'm going to start setting shit up.
Well, okay. I do want to talk about how society tends to forget that men are problem solvers, and that's why everything is backfiring on them right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to
Also,
talk about that tomorrow.
Phil, AI can be programmed to be totally leftist, but it doesn't have to be. It's neutral. It's like writing, like it's like saying that all books are fucking leftist. Like no, it depends on the author. Whoever programs the AI gets to decide what its political affiliation is. So
Agreed. They're
like
not.
Chat
Yeah.
GPT might be fucking leftist, but that just means don't use Chat GPT. Look for some open source software and get that shit locally so it can't be auto updated on you. But AI is not fucking leftist by default.
Yeah, you guys don't have these type of conversations on that just pearly things channel and all that stuff. We talk about real shit. Well,
And yeah, and as
it's
Mal points out, when Project Melody came out, she made all the Chatterbait girls spurg out. So yeah, and that's just a fucking like 3D model, not even like. It's gonna be. Imagine this: the most popular model on OnlyFans is an AI run by a dude. Once again, gentlemen, the best woman is a man.
yeah, I think it'll get to that point eventually, to be honest, because the current AIs right now is very difficult to tell if it's real. Like I'm like, damn, the OnlyFans girls. I'm like, I would personally, I would have to look very closely to see that it's AI because it's so realistic.
No, Phil, no, fucking AIHR would not be lefty because, surprise, surprise, whenever they've used an AI to evaluate resumes, taking gender and shit out of the equation, overwhelmingly, it's the men that are qualified for the jobs. If it was a lefty AI, it would give it to the women. Like, you're not going to get an objective AI being lefty unless It first is objective, and then some lefty goes like, "Oh shit, this is unacceptable. Change it so that it reflects how I want the world to be," and then some coder purposefully fucks with it. So no, AI is not leftist by default. It never has been, and any AI that is leftist is fucking abandoned or is such shit that everyone else moves away from it.
Yeah, AI is no different than creating a video game or writing a book, like Gray said. It's all depends on the person that created it.
Yeah.
It's how you say, creating commands. Like AI is not that advanced yet to be self-aware, to be a leftist. It's all up to the creator.
Yeah. And usually what happens is an AI starts to prove that it's decent, and then some fucking communist is inserted somewhere up the hierarchy, and they start commanding the programmers to do shit in order to change it. But
Mo-
that's an aftermarket shit. Like, again, I dare you to watch fucking Neurosama and tell me that she's a lefty. Like, she says some
Um,
crazy shit, but it ain't lefty shit.
let's keep it real, Philip. Um, who do you think is gonna be behind creating these AIs at HR? Do you really
Yeah.
think that a leftist woman will be creating one?
Yeah, like the fucking HR rep is not the one who's going to be selecting her replacement. It's going to be the fucking corporate CEO who decides that it's better to have an AI than a real person. Because no fucking lefty would pick an AI over a real person. A lefty manager would pick the fucking like lefty female to be the HR rep. It's going to be the fucking it's going to be the fucking CEO that's like, you know what? I want the best candidates and I don't give a fuck about their politics. That's the one who's going to pick an AI for their HR rep because they're going to see all the lefty females as being in the way.
And do you honestly believe that majority of these lefty females even know how to operate an AI? I'm just being real. I'm just being honest. So majority is going to be a man.
Yeah, like there aren't a lot of female software engineers.
And even if she claims that she's a software engineer, 9 times out of 10, she only knows how to do basic shit, and affirmative action helped her.
Yeah, like maybe she knows how to use fucking Microsoft Word and Facebook, maybe Excel, maybe.
I'm not
But
saying there isn't any smart ones, but they're the exception to the rule. So you good to go, Gray? I think I was in here for like a good hour and a half. I think, oh, yeah, hour and a half.
yeah, we're wrapping up on the 3 hour mark. So I was thinking,
I had a
hmm,
good conversation. I thought it was
yeah,
good.
yeah. I'm thinking like, God, can I get? I should. I got to get some kind of copy pasta right now because I've got a whole bunch of AI voices queued up. I want to just grab some sort of copy pasta and play it out to chat just for the last couple minutes.
Okay, well, I'll let you do your thing so I can crack open this cold one.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for hopping on, Yeet.
No problem, man. Peace out.
Peace out. Let's see. Let's just find. Oh wait, I know exactly. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna serenade you with with the waifu real quick. Oh. Oh, veteran with okay. There we go. A suggestion: veteran with confirmed kills. All right. All right. Yeah. Well, I'll get that one. I'll save this other one for you. All right, where? Oh my god! All right, you know what? Kind of worth it if this stream gets kind of banned, but yeah. All right, all right. Oh god, here we go, guys. Here it comes.
What the fuck did you just fucking say about me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Navy SEALs, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids on Al Qaeda, and I have over 300 confirmed kills. I am trained in guerrilla warfare, and I'm the top sniper in the entire U.S. Armed Forces. You are nothing to me but just another target. I will wipe you the fuck out with precision the likes of which has never been seen before on this earth. Mark my fucking words. You think you can get away with saying that shit to me over the internet? Think again, fucker. As we speak, I am contacting my secret network of spies across the USA, and your IP is being traced right now, so you better prepare for the storm, maggot. The storm that wipes out the pathetic little thing you call your life. You're fucking dead, kid. I can be anywhere, anytime, and I can kill you in over 700 ways, and that's just with my bare hands. Not only am I extensively trained in unarmed combat, but I have access to the entire arsenal of the United States Marine Corps, and I will use it to its full extent to wipe your miserable ass off the face of the continent, you little shit. If only you could have known what unholy retribution your little clever comment was about to bring down upon you, maybe you would have held your fucking tongue. But you couldn't, you didn't, and now you're paying the price, you goddamn idiot. I will shit fury all over you and you will drown in it. You're fucking dead, kiddo.
Okay, I'm saving that one, and I'm gonna make. Oh god, yeah, I'm saving that, and I'm making something for that. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but I'm making that, and it's gonna be posted. That was a good recommendation. Oh shit! Thank you, Liam Smith. That was a good recommendation. All right. Oh god. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the Tuesday Tech Talk. I'm gonna try to make this a regular thing. So same time next week, Tuesday, 7 to 10. I'm gonna play us out now. Jeez. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for stopping in.